Listen to this. 1 in 5 renters are behind on their rent payments. Over 10 million Americans are behind on their mortgage payments. Over 2.7 million Americans have filed forbearance with their banks. Over 10 million Americans are still unemployed. Businesses are filing bankruptcy from the virus, and the ones that are still alive are barely making it. The housing market is stronger than ever, but how long will it last? Now, many programs have extended forbearance and foreclosures on people who are behind on their payments. Now, as we all know, these programs were set to expire in March, which would have left millions and millions of Americans that are in debt out of their homes. What Joe Biden plans to do is to extend the forbearance and foreclosure programs for those who need it. Now, these extensions, just so you know, are for only federally backed loans. So if you have a private loan by a private lender, it's not going to apply to it. But of course, you can call that private lender directly, you can come to terms with them, and you can ask them for help, and hopefully you have a good relationship with them. Now, what I'm going to do is put down below in the description a link, and this link is for you who's renting a house or has a mortgage on a house who needs some help. What this link is going to help you with is give you options for relief to help you out. So if you need it, please don't be shy. Click that link and get some help. You're going to find resources that can help you not get foreclosed on or evicted by a landlord. Now, in the beginning of this video, I shared with you over 10 million Americans that are unemployed. This is not accounting for almost 50,000 Americans who are employed in the airlines industry that got notices that they were going to get laid off if the government didn't inject more stimulus money to help them survive. Now, what's crazy is small businesses struggling, filing bankruptcy, can't survive, needing help. The government helps them, but not that much. Not only not that much, but it's so hard to get qualified for. It's so hard to apply for. It's so hard to get your money for. It's not an easy process. So for the small businesses, they're getting wiped out. For the big giants, the airline industry, the big players, it's so easy for them to just beg for stimulus money, and then eventually the government gives them it. The government's always bailing out the top players, and that's exactly what we're seeing now with Joe Biden proposing $15 billion to help the airlines industry just another step further. Now, this isn't bad if 50,000 employees don't get laid off. That's good news that they don't get laid off. But let me put this in perspective for you. If these 50,000 employees get laid off, all of them, I'm sure, rent a house or own a house. Not only that, but what's going to happen when they have no income coming in? How are they going to pay their rent? How are they going to pay their mortgages? How are they going to survive? How many are going to request forbearance? How many of them are going to be underwater trying to live when they just got laid off from their job that they were there for 10, 20, 30, if not 50 years? The airline industry got to a point where they're requesting people to take early leave, meaning they're supposed to retire at 65. They're telling them at 55, if you retire now, we'll give you unlimited travel, we'll give you a certain bonus package, we'll give you, and they're doing that because they are in a bad position. And that's crazy, but so many employees actually took early retirement and left because they thought that this is the best option that they're gonna have. So in this video, what I'm discussing with you is about the housing market, how scary it is right now, how expensive it is, how the market is looking, yet there are thousands, if not millions of Americans being unemployed, losing their job on a daily basis, and we still have that virus floating around. So many are not realizing that the market is so hot. So many are not realizing that the prices of houses are so high. So many people nowadays who are purchasing properties, who are purchasing homes, they're not purchasing a home, they are purchasing a mortgage. And this is something that is a very popular way that I want you to start looking at things. What home buyers are doing is they're looking at a house and they're saying, this house is for $400,000. Even if I overpay by $20,000, $30,000, my mortgage is going to go up $50, $100. who cares? Our rates are anyway so cheap. We're getting a 2.5% interest rate. So what they're buying is a mortgage, not a home. And what that causes is a high price in the market and making actually all the properties overpriced. Now I'm seeing this firsthand as a real estate agent. What I'm seeing is clients placing offers with appraisal waivers. And this means that if a home doesn't appraise at a certain value and the bank is not going to lend the full amount, the home buyer will pay the difference in cash. What this causes is an inflated market for purchases of a home for the value that it's really not valued at. An appraisal's telling you this home is worth $400,000, yet you're saying I'm willing to pay $420,000. Even if the bank's only giving me $400,000, I'm gonna pay the $20,000 difference from my cash. And I'm seeing this daily on almost every single offer. I mean, imagine this, you wanna buy a house and you love this house, but you got 10, 20, 30 other people competing with you. You gotta get aggressive, you gotta get creative on your offer, and you're gonna do whatever it is because there is no supply in the market right now, so you're gonna overpay. But you're okay with that because remember, you're buying a mortgage, not a home. And that's not the right mindset to have, but so many buyers are having that mindset in this market. Now, as we all know, there's more stimulus money that's going to be coming into the market, and it's going to help a lot of businesses. It's going to float a lot of businesses. And not only that, but we're getting more forbearance programs, relief programs, foreclosure programs. And what this is doing is just delaying the market from reacting to the reality of everybody is in a bad position, if not majority of people. Now all we're seeing is extension after extension after extension. You won't get foreclosed on this month, but next month you can. Then next month comes, says, oh, never mind, you can't get foreclosed on this month, the next month you can. And all we're seeing is the government extending and extending and extending the forbearance programs, the foreclosure programs, the eviction programs, all of these things where you're just living in a property that you really can't afford because you're now unemployed, because you got laid off. And that's the danger that we're seeing in the housing market, is the majority of people living in homes right now can hardly afford it, are not making their payments, yet they're still living in the property. What this is causing is very low supply. What this is showing is low supply, extremely high demand, which is why we're seeing house prices so high. But let me put this in perspective for you. What happens when now you can get foreclosed on? What happens when now you can get evicted? What happens when there's no more stimulus money in the market? What happens when there's no more stimulus checks coming in for you to help you survive? Exactly. You're going to see a market that is going to react to what's been happening, because as of right now, the market's just floating, and that's exactly what the government's doing, is trying to keep it alive. So for everybody who's wondering about this housing crash with the housing market and why prices are so expensive, why is everything inflated, why is happening, I hope this video made it make sense for you. We are seeing a very odd market with odd reactions, with things that are happening just to keep the market afloat. But the reality is, eventually it's gonna have to stop, and eventually things are gonna have to pay for the fakeness that's in the market right now. So there you have it, guys. We are in an unpredictable market, and nobody knows what's gonna happen so long the government continues to float the market. And as long as that happens, we're gonna keep seeing what we're seeing right now, which is a very hot market. Supply is low and demand is at its all-time high. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. For more content like this, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm out.